From WJMN TV, Marquette, Escanaba, this is Local 3 News at 11 in HD.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us for Local 3 News in HD. I'm Kylie Kahn, sitting in for Cynthia Thompson. The worst place in the Great Lakes for an oil spill is said to be the Straits of Mackinac. And before that could be a reality, Michigan's U.S. senators are looking to prevent that scenario. The Straits currently house Oil Line 5, a set of oil pipes more than 60 years old. To combat this risk, Senators Gary Peters and Debbie Stabenow today introduced the Pipeline Improvement and Preventing Spills Act. The bill would ban shipping of crude oil by vessel on the Great Lakes, as well as reassess oil spill response and cleanup plans.
And one of my primary concerns, and a big part of this legislation, is that any kind of response plan has to look at also what would happen in the wintertime when you have ice coverage. How do you clean up an oil spill in water when you have very thick ice that prevents any kind of cleanup? And that needs to be considered in any kind of response plan.
The bill is also designed to increase public access to information on oil pipelines, and it would expand safety measures for high-consequence areas like the Straits of Mackinac. To read the full release on the bill, visit our website, upmatters.com.
Today was Keeping It Local and a shopping day in the Marquette area. As a way to give to the UP Children's Museum, shoppers at Getz's Clothiers were able to shop, save, and still support the kids' programs. Staff at the Longtime Clothing Store in downtown Marquette says community support is just part of the fabric of the store, and today it donated 5% of all sales to the Children's Museum.
We are having a Children's Museum event where a portion of the sales is getting donated to the Children's Museum. It's an all-day thing, starts from 10, we close at 7, and we're just trying to do a good thing for the Children's Museum and be a good cause down here in downtown Marquette.
Well, the Children's Museum is, first of all, a treasure in our community. It's a hands-on learning institution where kids can interact with exhibits and learn about a host of things and imagine and pretend and grow up.
That event continues until 7 o'clock tonight. It may be about a month, maybe even more, before a Marquette Township restaurant reopens. That's because of a fire there last night. Fire investigators from Marquette Township are looking into a grease fire that broke out at the Great Hunan Chinese restaurant around 7:15 last night. Most of the damage was to the hood vent, ovens, and deep fryer, but smoke damage is extensive. No injuries were reported.
Last night we responded to a reported grease fire at the Great Hunan restaurant. The fire was controlled very rapidly. However, took great time to make sure there was no fire extension into the building. Damage was to the cooking area and also to the wall behind the cooking area. Therefore, we were looking for extension to make sure that it didn't get up into the attic or deep into the wall.
Firefighters had to break down a couple of walls and pull down ceilings to get to the source of the fire and make sure it was completely extinguished. That fire is still under investigation.
By entering a fundraiser for just $1, you'll get a chance to win a gun. The Greater Ishpeming-Negaunee Chamber of Commerce, along with Wilderness Sports, is holding a raffle to raise money for the business's annual dinner. This is one of 3 fundraisers the chamber holds every year to help fund events like luncheon, business after hours, and ribbon cuttings hosted for chamber members.
It seems a little bit like a new fundraiser, but it's actually just something that we've added on in anticipation for our 5th annual dinner. What it is we'll be selling charitable raffle tickets from now until our annual dinner, which is held on October 22nd. And the grand prize winner is $500, a gun or a gift card from Wilderness Sports.
The raffle drawing will be held during the GINCC's annual dinner on Thursday, October 22nd at Red Rock Lanes in Ishpeming. Other prizes include fishing, camping, and fitness equipment.
Unemployment rates continue to drop all across the state of Michigan. September's seasonally adjusted rate was at 5%. That comes from the Michigan Department of Technology Management and Budget. Now, just 1 year ago, the state jobless rate was 6.7%. And just getting a college degree does not mean you'll always get a job. However, some Northern Michigan University students were trying to land jobs today. In fact, NMU hosted its annual fall job fair today, giving students some face-to-face time with those who had some jobs to offer.
So we're excited to answer any questions that they have and give them some opportunities and maybe some entry level or general positions that we've got available that will get their foot in the door, get them some real life experience for what they want to do in the future.
This is an awesome experience. Like I'm looking for an internship right now, and finding an internship is pretty difficult, and just having all these employers here right now makes it so much easier, and just it gives me a lot of resources to try to find a job.
Employers from across the UP ranged from financial services to law enforcement and obviously the medical field. They were offering applications and even some advice on how students could find a job.
Telling your story is something many people consider from time to time, but a man raised in Marquette has put pen to paper and got his story published. David Lee is the author of River of Iron. He says he got inspiration from his mother's poems. He writes about the hardships his family and others faced living on the Marquette Iron Range during the Great Depression. The Northern Michigan University grad autographed copies of his book today.
But I kind of think of it as a template for raising a family in very difficult economic times, when people didn't have money to speak of. And yet they did raise families that did quite well.
David Lee will hold another book signing tomorrow and Sunday in Ishpeming at the Yoopers Tourist Trap on US 41.
While reading is usually a one person with one book experience, it's also a group event. Snowbound Books in Marquette is in the middle of a marathon being open 36 hours straight to wrap up the One Book, One Community event this month. One Book, One Community was inspired by the book Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore. There'll be store specials overnight along with a book signing by author Robert Sloan at 1 a.m.
The book is about the segue between print media and electronic media. So it's very relevant to what's going on in the world of media today. There's a lot of Google in the book, but there's also these old books that contain a mystery, so there's a puzzle in the book. But it's a discussion on how we acquire knowledge, what knowledge sticks, what doesn't. And so being open 24 hours, we'll be able to talk to people about that.
There are several other events set for the coming days. In fact, there's a book discussion tonight at 7:30, and Sloan will be holding a presentation and book signing in Jamrich Hall at NMU tomorrow night at 7 p.m.